to win for the 7th time in their last 8 tries as the I-55 rivalry continues. Baseball Night in America sends you to Chicago for the Cardinals and Cubs.
It is a great atmosphere in and around Wrigley Field, and they are getting ready for the renewal of this great rivalry, the Chicago Cubs and the St. Louis Cardinals. It's impressive. It's the Cardinals and Cubs tonight, Baseball Night in America, and it's yours on Fox. And now welcome inside the broadcast booth, everybody. I'm Joe Buck. Tim McCarver and Ken Rosenthal are both coming up. Well, you know the story for the St. Louis Cardinals. They are red hot. They've been hot since the start of the season. They have the best winning percentage in Major League Baseball, and they are in the top spot in the NL Central. Now, for the Chicago Cubs, they've already proven that they're going to be sellers here as the trade market is open here in the early part of July. But, Tim McCarver, it seems like we're watching a team that is turning the corner and getting better right before our very eyes.
Manager Dale Swaim saying that as far as the Cubs moving the needle, they're doing that. They have more power at third base, more power in right field. But the biggest change in the Cubs this year so far, they're starting pitching.
And that holds tonight as Matt Garza gets the ball. He's 5-1 and has been almost unhittable of late. On the other side, the Cardinals, I mean, you know, it's been good all season long, and you can't just point to one reason why they're winning.
They can burn you from both ends. They've had 11 rookie pitchers. Think about that. 11 rookie pitchers successful this year for the Cardinals, and they can also hit with runners in scoring position. Far and away the best statistic of any major league team.
It's also a ball club that features 5 All-Stars, with the All-Star game right around the corner on Tuesday night in New York at Citi Field. We'll see Beltran tonight. We'll see Alan Craig tonight. And we'll see Matt Carpenter tonight. Good matchup. It's yours. Baseball Night in America. Cards and Cubs next on Fox. There's nobody I'd rather sit next to than Tim McCarver. Wrigley Field, Chicago, 75-degree day. Partly cloudy. The wind is kind of blowing in from left center field, and you just can't find a better picture in all of sports, in my judgment, than this ballpark when it's packed. There's standing room only. Matt Garza will get the ball tonight, and that's his little pregame fist bump with Chris Bosio, his pitching coach, before he takes on the Cardinals and further enhances his trade value. The opening pitch brought to you by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. How you doing over there, Tim?
Perfect.
How'd you like to play in this park, Tim, back in the day?
I liked it a lot. A lot.
There's a lot to like about not just playing here, but life here, the hotel, the nightlife, the roll into the ballpark, and then you get your nights free.
The best.
I wish you guys could see his face right now with a wry little smile creeping into the corner of his mouth.
The best.
Somebody tell Matt Garza we're ready to play baseball. Or don't. And we can just sit here and talk. We'll take your calls, questions, and comments at 1-800-FOX-SPORTS. Starting lineup brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Cardinals have Matt Carpenter, all-star. Daniel Descalso at shortstop, playing for Pete Kozma, who is struggling with the bat. He's batting second. Carlos Beltran, all-star. Alan Craig, all-star. Matt Adams is one of their young sluggers. He's at first. David Freese at third. John Jay in center. Tony Cruz does the catching, and Lance Lynn is on the mound and batting in the number 9 spot. And Matt Garza is getting ready to take the field. Now, Matt is 5-1 at 3.22 ERA, but 4-0 and an ERA under 1 over his last 5 starts, and he said it's 50-50. He re-ups here with the Cubs. The Cubs don't want to talk about it publicly, but he likely is on the block, ready to go to a contender in the second half.
Well, that's what pitchers do when they show up here at Wrigley Field. They check the flags, and the wind is blowing straight in from center field.
There are the numbers this season. Problem for Matt has been health. He's been here for 3 years. He's been on the DL all 3 years. In 2011, had an elbow contusion. 2012, a stress reaction in his right elbow. And this year, trying to work his way back, he missed the first 7 weeks because of a lat injury. And here is your scouting report that you put together this morning.
Well, that first point, the Cardinals are well aware of Matt Garza's inability at times to simply throw the ball to first base on comebackers to the mound. He is a top-tier right-hander, much desired from a lot of ball clubs, and is this, and it could be, his last start for the Cubs. Maybe.
Maybe. We'll see how he gets along here against this Cardinal lineup, which will check in with a top average collectively in the National League. Kenny Rosenthal is with us, and we're glad for that. Always glad when Kenny's with us. And there he is in his bow tie. I was going to talk to you about Garza, but let's talk about the bow tie first, because this is a cause near and dear to my heart, juvenile diabetes research.
Absolutely. This one is for the JDRF, and it's in memory of Ron Santo, the former Cubs great who, of course, had type 1 diabetes and struggled with it throughout his career. He told me some amazing stories, Joe, about how he would play virtually blacking out. So this one's for him.
Yeah, well, and a perfect time to wear it here at Wrigley Field. The beloved Ron Santo, and I'm thinking of a kid in St. Louis, Max Rowe, who has dealt with juvenile diabetes and done a lot to help research for that very tough disease to deal with. Matt Carpenter will lead it off. So now, Kenny, I'll talk to you. What is the trade market, in your opinion, for Matt Garza? Because there are some scouts, when you talk to him, they'll tell you his stuff is better than Ricky Nolasco, who just recently went to the Dodgers.
Joe, there is little question about that. And in Garza's last start, he averaged 93.6 miles per hour. That was a season high for him. His stock right now is as high as it could be. And remember, he is not scheduled to pitch again until the Monday after the All-Star break. So between now and then, there stands a very good chance that the Cubs will move him.
Any ideas of where that may be?
Well, there are any number of contenders interested. The Rangers are one. Nearly traded for him last year before he got hurt. The Dodgers might not be done. The Red Sox, the Nationals. You look at any contender, and they virtually are all going to be represented probably here today. with scouts.
Yep, everybody needs pitching. So here we go. It's Matt Carpenter, Daniel Descalso, and Carlos Beltran. The Cardinals that have the best winning percentage in all of baseball at 56-35, but they are only a game better than the Pittsburgh Pirates in the NL Central.
Cannot shake the Buccos.
And we do not see a second half collapse like they've suffered the last 2 years coming for Pittsburgh.
Not with their pitching.
Off we go on a Saturday night. Carpenter shows bunt, takes a strike. Matt Carpenter has gone from a utility player, and that may be a bad label, but it's accurate because he would play third base, he'd play first base, he'd play the outfield, to an all-star second baseman as he takes ball one down and away. And Tim, on top of that, a leadoff hitter, which nobody saw coming a year ago.
No, not a lot of speed. That's typical with most leadoff hitters, but can he ever hit?
On the inside corner, good sip from Garza in the count 1-2.
And it doesn't matter how many strikes he has. In fact, Matt Carpenter has more hits with 2 strikes than any other major leaguer this year so far.
So he's comfortable at the plate with a 1-2 count. Trying to get on to start the night for the Cardinals. He takes down and in 2-2. Home plate umpire tonight is the crew chief Wally Bell. He's joined by Alfonso Marquez at first, Dan Bellino, who got into it with the Cardinals, and manager Mike Matheny 2 nights ago, and Mike DeMuro at third base. Garza is taking his own sweet time. The 2-2 pitch. A little bit low and a full count. One thing you can say about Garza, and he proved it with the Tampa Bay Rays, he likes the spotlight. And he likes postseason, and he is a postseason tested pitcher that does not melt. As here's a one-hopper hit to Barney. He's about as good as there is in the game. 1 out. But just to finish on Garza, he did it with the Rays when everybody's watching. He can be at his best. Here are the 4 keys to the game on a Saturday night.
Well, from a Cardinal standpoint, just keep running on all cylinders. They've done that over the first close to 90 games. And from a Cubs standpoint, keep your starting pitching strong. And we say that with yours and Ken's conversation about perhaps getting rid of Matt Garza. Tough to do.
Descalso is the shortstop more times than not of late, with Pete Kozma, the typical shortstop, struggling through an 0 for 26 stretch. Descalso takes a strike. And now a ball. Cubs come in at 41-50, but they've won 5 of their last 8 and 10 of their last 16, and they're starting to find better roles for guys in the bullpen, and this team is starting to round into shape. That's Rizzo. From the sunlight to the shade, 2 out. And we might as well show you the rest of the NL Central. Cincinnati, they have hit the skids of late. They're still 10 over 500, but they're 5.5 out. And they lost in Atlanta earlier today, 5-2. So here's Beltran. Carlos with 353 career home runs and an all-star for the 8th time in his career. Former Rookie of the Year. Kansas City Royals, Houston Astros, New York Mets, San Francisco Giants, St. Louis Cardinals. Takes a ball. If this is Garza's last start as a Cub, he is making it last. Here is a foul backing out of play. 1 ball, 1 strike. Most career home runs for switch hitters all time. There's the great Mickey Mantle, Eddie Murray, Chipper Jones, Lance Berkman, and Beltran is closing in on Lance, his former teammate, just 13 behind him. That's strike 2.
I think that's the toughest pitch to put in play of all of the situations A right-hander to a right-hander, right-hander to a left-hander, that ball up and away to left-handed batters. It's the most difficult spot for a left-handed batter. Almost always they're going right back up there. That's good policy by Navarro, the catcher.
These two have been very good together, Yadier Navarro and Matt Garza. And there are some who speculate that if Garza goes, as you see for Navarro calling it for it upstairs, Navarro could go with him. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
You might say, well, if the pitch up and away in the strike zone to a left-hander from a right-handed pitcher is such a good location, why don't you go to it more often? It's a tough pitch to be called a strike. That's why pitchers don't like to pitch there.
On 2-2, Beltran flies one into shallow center. Coming to get it is Bogusevic, and that'll do it for the Cardinals in the first. Good start for Matt Garza. Down goes St. Louis. 1-2-3. Lynn to the hill, no score. They've been playing baseball since 1914. The starting lineup for the Cubs, brought to you by Taco Bell. Sometimes you got to live Moss. It's Luis Valbuena leading it off, then Starlin Castro, back-to-back multiple hit games. That's what he's had in the first 2 games of this 4-game set. Anthony Rizzo at first. Alfonso Soriano cleans up. Yadier Navarro, then Brian Bogusevic in center. Dave Sapelt is in right. Darwin Barney at second, and Matt Garza does the pitching, bats 9th, and here is Lance Lynn, who is 11-3, and coming off a win Sunday against the Marlins.
No major league pitchers won more games since the start of 2012 than Lance Lynn. Dominant versus the Cubs. He's 5-1, an earned run average just over 2, and the National League's biggest winner, as we said, the last year and a half. And see you Tuesday night. One of 5 All-Stars for the Cardinals.
It will be Valbuena to lead off, then Castro, then Rizzo. For the Cubs, who won the first game of this 4-game set 3-zip behind Edwin Jackson, and lost yesterday 3-2. Joe Kelly beat Carlos Villanueva. So 2 good games. Game number 3, bottom of the first, and Valbuena takes a strike. Lynn was the 39th overall selection back in June of 2008, came up in 2011. Spent the final 46 games that season on the disabled list, but then came back as he finds strike 2 to be a big part of the Cardinal bullpen as they won it all in 2011. Took care of his body better over the offseason, lost a bunch of weight, had a real rough spring, and people said, well, he can't pitch. at a thinner weight, and he has proven with an 11-3 start that that's not the case.
And on the All-Star team.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Valbuena grounds to Adams. 1 away. Tomorrow is the finale of this 4-game set when Adam Wainwright, with his 12 wins, which ties him for the league lead, takes on Travis Wood, who is the representative for the Cubs, a record of 6-6, but 17 quality starts. Something that you used to hang your hat on back in the 60s. Quality starts, which is the most by a Cub before the break since the great Greg Maddux 25 years ago. And that's a good matchup on Sunday night. Here's Starlin Castro. Strike 1.
Well, if Travis Wood doesn't pitch in the All-Star game, he can hit. 2 home runs, a grand slam this year, and a .265 average. I would think that is going to be the leading batting average for any National League pitcher on Tuesday night.
Here's David Freese making the play to get Castro 2 out. Well, it used to be, and it used to be not that long ago, they changed the rule where if you pitched on Sunday, you could be named an All-Star but could not participate in the game, which really made it tight for the managers when they would name a guy and then he was unavailable, and that was kind of a phone call that was made to the acting league manager for that All-Star game. Now that's changed to where if Wood or Wainwright want to pitch, they can go 1 inning or a pitch count of 20. And Wainwright has said that he's more worried about the start on Sunday and not worried about the All-Star game. He's going to go anyway. And the option is there for Wood as well. Here's a line drive into left and a nice catch made by Alan Craig. Predominantly the first baseman for the Cardinals. Matt Holliday is out with a bad hamstring, and Craig made a nice catch, got a good jump, and each side goes in order in the first. Cards and Cubs, a good one. Great matchup, no score. Bell is sponsored by Ford and their spectacular summer sales event, and by Taco Bell. Sometimes you gotta live Moss. Talking about living Moss, you gave the Cardinals Moss All-Stars than they actually have. Lance Lynn was an All-Star last year and could very well be an All-Star this year, but to this point, despite the 11-3 record, not on the squad.
Yeah, I jumped the gun there, but assuming with Jeff Locke of the Pittsburgh Pirates electing not to go today, I assume that Lance Lynn would be the one nominated, but that is not official yet.
And there are other guys.
May not be, sure.
There are other guys that on Sunday, like Adam Wainwright or Travis Wood, guys that can say, that's it. I'm not going to participate. I'll go. And so then you need more pitchers, because bad things happen when you run out of pitching in an all-star game.
Like ties.
Ties, yes.
That happened in 2002 in Milwaukee. That's not good.
Well, Matt Garza is set to go in the second. It'll be Alan Craig, Matt Adams, and David Freese. If anybody gets on, John Jay. And here's the first to Craig, who made that nice catch in left field to end the first. Strike one.
Alan Craig with 72 RBIs. He is very quickly being known as a guy you shouldn't pitch to with runners in scoring position.
Leading baseball in that category for the second straight year. He grounds one to Barney to his right. One out. Darwin Barney, the second baseman for the Cubs, may not get the notoriety as being one of the best defensive infielders in the game, but he should. He is as good as there is with the glove. He didn't show his arm here, but just watching him during batting practice taking ground balls from one of his coaches, David Bell, he can really get the ball over to first with a lot of heat on it.
He made errors last Sunday and Monday, and prior to that he had gone 74 consecutive games playing errorless ball at second base.
Garza now deals with Adams, who takes a strike over the outside corner. Matt Adams, who had a game-winning pinch hit two-run home run last Saturday in a 5-4 win over Miami, got a lot of action during interleague play while the Cardinals were on the road and able to use a DH. And now Adams will get work at first base with Matt Holliday out. He pulled his hamstring on Thursday. Talked to Matt, and he thought by Friday, the upcoming Friday after the All-Star break, he'll be fine and ready to go. He's not concerned that it's going to be a long-term issue. Counts 0-2 on Adams, who is hitting .309, 7 home runs, 25 RBIs in limited work, but a guy who just tore up the minor leagues, showing good power. Here's the 0-2. A little floater for a base hit, and the first base runner of the night is Matt Adams on a jam shot over the head of Valbuena at third, 1-on, 1-out.
Matt Adams weighs 260 pounds, and generally speaking, for a guy with that type build, you can pitch him inside. You can jam him. He's a power hitter, and most guys who have that much power, well, think about it, 260 pounds, he loves that ball away from him.
Here's David Freese, who likes the ball away from him. He has hit only 5 home runs, a .270 average, 29 RBIs, batting with Adams at first, 1 out. And taking a swing at a 91-mile-an-hour fastball, strike one. David Freese, you start to see his name pop up as a potential trade element for the Cardinals because of a guy named Colton Wong, a young second baseman who is in the minor leagues, former first-round draft pick. Matt Carpenter, who is more of a third baseman than a second baseman. You wonder if Freese could be squeezed out as he flies to center, 2 out here in the second.
Well, the Cardinals' depth throughout their minor league system can work against certain guys, even heroes of World Series play like David Freese.
He has been frustrated. Power numbers are not there, and he has had a rough start to the month of July as John Jay stands in. Am I nuts, Ken Rosenthal, or is that a possibility for David Freese and the Cardinals?
You are not nuts at all, Joe. And the great thing about the Cardinals is that they have this kind of depth at virtually every position. So they have these choices. Here's Freese. He's starting to make a bit of money. You could trade him, go younger with Wong, and then move Carpenter in third, like you said. And there you have it.
Well, it remains to be seen what John Mozeliak, the general manager, will do for the Cardinals. You could see him standing pat. You could see him hoping for Joe Kelly to fill that number 5 spot. Chris Carpenter on his way back. Here's a foul ball down the right field line. Or does he use some of these blue chip prospects or some of this pitching that seems to come flooding out of this organization to try and get a more established starter like a Cliff Lee or somebody in that category?
To go back to our opening, the St. Louis Cardinals and Mike Matheny this year have used 11 different rookie pitchers. 11.
Here's a 1-1. Upstairs, 2-1.
I mean, there's some organizations that would be fortunate to use 11 starting rookies or guys who are in the bullpen over a decade, much less a year.
They've all, for the most part, come up and, if not been successful, at least been impressive with the kind of stuff they brought with them. Here's a base hit to center. Off the bat of Jay, and it's 2 on with 2 out, and Tony Cruz coming up. So Jay is on, and Tony Cruz will stand in. He is the backup to Yadier Molina, which, when you're the backup to a guy who plays seemingly every day in every inning, you can get a little rusty on the bench. But he is a very good backup that people around this organization think could be more of a legit big league regular, if not for that guy who could very well be the MVP in the National League if he can stay healthy here in 2013.
Sometimes it's what pitchers don't say about a catcher that speaks volumes. That's what Mike Matheny was saying. You never hear the pitchers saying anything bad about Tony Cruz.
Here's a ground ball, base hit left side. Matt Adams will cruise around third and make it, and the Cardinals score first. Lead 1-0 here in the second on an RBI base hit by Tony Cruz.
Catchers are used to studying pitchers, and Tony Cruz, studying Matt Garza, knew that he threw a fastball on the first pitch to 8 straight hitters. On the 8th one, Cruz drives in the first Cardinal run of the game.
You saw that throw get away from Darwin Barney at second base. It got past Barney, but then hit Dan Bellino, the second base umpire, and that kept it around the bag, or the runners would have advanced to second and third. And now Lance Lynn, who has 2 RBIs on the season, 3 hits, has runners at first and second, 2 out with a run home. And here is that throw that got away from Barney at second base and caught Bellino on the right knee. One ball, no strikes on Lance Lynn. 3 out of 27 at the plate this season. Sticks the bat out, pokes it into center, and Bogusevic is there to end the inning. Cardinals get the first run of the night. 3 hits in the inning, Strand 2. Bottom of the second. 1-0 St. Louis. Tonight's telecast is sponsored by Budweiser, the official beer of Major League Baseball. Great times are waiting. Grab some Buds. We move into the bottom of the second. Here's Alfonso Soriano, who was happy to hear you talk about a home run he hit back in 2001.
Back in 2001, Game 7 against Curt Schilling. 8th inning, 2 out, nothing in 2, and he hits a ball off the ground. I remember that so well. And he served notice to Major League pitchers what kind of hitter he was going to be over the next 12 years. He loves that ball down.
I think it's remarkable that he is only 13 home runs shy of 400 in his career.
Yep.
He's 20 stolen bases shy of 300. He's been red hot of late. He takes outside, ball 1. And it wasn't until he was 25 years old in 2001, so 25, when he played his first full year in the big leagues. He started his career in Japan before coming to the Yankees, as he is ahead on the count here, 2-0.
Just had a brilliant career. That put the Yankees ahead 2-1 in that game, and of course that was the famous game won by Luis Gonzalez off Mariano Rivera.
Here's a 2-0. That's into the gap in right center field. That ball will get down on one hop. Beltran gets to it. Soriano has a double to start the second off Lance Lynn. Might be the hottest hitter in the league right now.
Serving notice then and now that he likes the ball down. You let him extend his arms to a ball in the strike zone that's down. He can put the fat part of the bat on the ball.
Ken Rosenthal is down by the dugout, and Kenny, Soriano's been wearing that 8-year, $136 million contract around his neck. It seems like for, well, 6.5 years now. But his teammates really appreciate the kind of pro he is.
They do. And Joe, talking to David DeJesus yesterday, he said that last year with Soriano struggling with that knee problem, he was the first guy in the clubhouse every day in the training room getting himself ready. And what people don't realize is that this guy is a hard worker and that he has had a very successful career here in Chicago through it all. Averaged 28 home runs per season, an OPS above 800. He's been a very good offensive player, and the question now, of course, is will he be traded too?
Yeah, he's got to be at least on that list, as is this guy, Dioner Navarro, who has provided more pop than the Cubs expected. Gets that one off the end of the bat. The count 1 ball, 1 strike. Navarro has hit 8 home runs and is batting .288 as he hits with a runner at second, nobody out. However, not hitting well against right-handed pitching. Just .211. Dealing with Lance Lynn. Navarro trying to tie this game. The Cardinals got a run in the top half of this second. And now Lance Lynn and Tony Cruz are having a tough time coming together on the side.
That's part of the homework that Lance Lynn has been doing, even with the left-handed hitter up there. And even though there are no outs, he knows that Soriano, with 10 stolen bases, has stolen third 5 times. So he's more dangerous on second base than he is on first.
Lynn ready with a 1-1. Ground ball base hit through the right side. Soriano will be held and now brought to the plate as Beltran missed it in right. It's a 1-1 game on what should be a base hit and an error on Beltran out in right.
Soriano had been held up by third base coach David Bell, and rightly so, as Beltran overruns the ball. And even though Soriano overran the bag, he starts up again and scores easily without a play.
So it's a base hit, E9, third error for the All-Star Beltran. No RBI for Yadier Navarro. But it's a tie game with a runner at first, nobody out, and Bogusevic at the plate. There's a strike. Got a game break coming up. Brian Bogusevic missed a week with a bad left hamstring. He came back on Thursday. Originally drafted by Houston as a left-handed pitcher, 24th overall back in 2005. Here's a ball that is missed by Tony Cruz, and down to second is Navarro with nobody out.
That looked like a cut fastball that cut too much for Tony Cruz. Ball that should have been handled. You become, when you're not catching every day, you become a little lethargic behind the plate, and your lateral movement is slower than it normally would be. I think that's what happened to Tony.
It is a pass ball for Tony Cruz.
Should have been.
Runner at second now, nobody out, and a 1-1 pitch. Bogusevic takes outside. Well, if you're wondering why Yadier Molina is not in the game, Molina missed last Saturday and Sunday. Then the Cardinals had an off day on Monday with inflammation in his right knee. Here's a 2-1. Ground ball to the right of Carpenter. Makes a nice play over to third. One out is Navarro. And we will give you the game break. Here's Matt Vasgersian at the MLB Network studios.
Joe, White Sox and Phillies were rained out yesterday. First of two today. Top of the 11th, Alexi Ramirez doubles in the go-ahead run. Chicago denies Philly getting back to 500 for the first time in over a month. Joe, back to you and Tim.
All right, Matt, thank you. And the Phillies started the day 7 out in the NL East. Here is Seppelt, who is batting with a runner at third and one out. The Cardinals bring the infield in a 1-1 game.
Only the second inning, but you have the bottom of the order. That's what dictates whether you bring the infield in or not.
Here's a ground ball, base hit into center, and the Cubs take the lead. Past the drawn-in infield, and it's a 2-1 Chicago lead. RBI number 4. For Seppelt as he bounced one back up the middle.
Well, maybe if Descalzo is back on the play, maybe he has a play on Seppelt. The run would certainly have scored, but I think it's worth the chance for Matheny to take. Again, because you have the bottom of the order up with the thinking that with one out, the chances of them scoring multi-runs are remote.
So the pass ball figures in. The Cubs have the lead, and now a check on the runner at first. And just to finish with Molina, so he's got inflammation in his right knee, and his manager Mike Matheny has said we have got to be smart about how we use Yadier Molina in the second half of the season. To me, he had operated on back in 2007. There's a strike. Batter is Darwin Barney, who was hitting just .211. Molina's hitting .335 and leading the National League in hitting. 5-time All-Star. And on the bench today on his 31st birthday as Barney takes outside, a ball and a strike.
And this situation just screams for a hit and run with your 8th place hitter, only one out. Pitcher up next.
Here's a 1-1. Down and away, 2-1. Standing room only crowd here at Wrigley Field. Game 3 of a 4-game set. The Cardinals got a run in the top half, and the Cubs have 2 in the bottom half of the second.
Not only in the park, but across the street.
That's right. Here's a 2-1. Too far inside. 3 balls and a strike. And that is on a rooftop out in left center field. Three balls and a strike, and the next from Lynn with a runner going. Freeze has to back up. And now they're going to say catcher interference as they're going to give Barney first base. Catcher's interference, and this has been a rough inning for Tony Cruz.
Yeah, it really has. The pass ball, even though at the top of the inning on one pitch, he drove in the first run of the ball game. But he had a pass ball, and now standing too close to Darwin Barney, he hits the back of the glove, and it looked like it may have made contact with Tony Cruz's left hand also. So it's an error on the catcher. And you're right, a very tough inning for Tony Cruz thus far.
And just to repeat what you said, what Mike Matheny, the manager of the Cardinals, said before the game, you just don't hear guys talking about Tony Cruz in a good way after he catches a game because he's been so good, but this has been a rough inning.
Yeah.
Now Matt Garza with runners at first and second, and only one out. So 2 errors in the inning and a pass ball. Garza up there to bunt, pops it over the head of Lynn, and everybody moves up.
With second baseman Matt Carpenter covering first base, sometimes a pitcher inadvertently bunts it where nobody is.
It's a base hit for Garza, his 4th hit of the season. And that brings Derek Lilliquist, the pitching coach, out to try and, I'm sure in some way, calm down Lance Lynn, because he looks like a frustrated pitcher out there right now.
Over the head of Lynn, Adams is charging. The second baseman Matt Carpenter was covering first. And even though Daniel Descalso comes up with the ball, there's nobody at first base.
And now Luis Valbuena, who has only been a .212 hitter with runners in scoring position, stands in, bases loaded, 1 out. The Cardinals started this game with the fewest errors committed in the league at 40. But 2 errors and a pass ball here in the second. And Valbuena trying to come up with something big here for the Cubs. Strike 1. 27 RBIs, 7 home runs. Waiting for the 0-1. Strike 2.
Dale Swaim, the manager of the Cubs, making a point before the game that we are very proud that we're getting production out of that third base position. 14 home runs this year, 18 home runs from right field.
Here's the 0-2. Ball 1. Lynn has not struck anybody out. He's looking for that first one here in the second with Castro on deck. Here's a 1-2. A strikeout for out number 2. And Valbuena struggles with runners in scoring position. Continue. Let's go back to the catcher's interference and listen to sounds of the game with home plate umpire Wally Bell.
Interference here. Time's out. He gets first base. Interference. He gets first and second.
Well, there you go. The crew chief called it immediately. And now this inning is up to Starlin Castro. The Cubs lead 2-1. There's a strike. Castro's hit 6 home runs and is batting .240, grounded out to third his first time up. And now Castro hops out.
Excuse me, Joe. The one thing about Starlin Castro is he's not comfortable with the strike zone yet. He's only walked 15 times in 200, make that 399 plate appearances this year. So what you try to do if you get ahead is play to that, but he doesn't know the strike zone. Try to get him out with balls and not strikes.
Cubs are shocked that his average is down around 240, even though he's had back-to-back multiple hit games in this series. He came into this season as a 297 career hitter and a two-time All-Star. He waits for a 1-1. That's a slow roller that will go for a base hit. It's 3-1. Sapelt scores to make it 3-1, and the frustration continues for the Cardinal right-hander Lance Lynn.
How about this inning? With first and second, first the bunt by Garza. Over the head of Lynn, nobody's there. And now a swinging bunt with the bases loaded, and nobody's there. Good fortune for the Cubs in this inning.
Now it's Anthony Rizzo who could turn this into a huge second inning for Chicago. Ball one inside. Ninth man to bat in the inning. It started with a double, leading off by Soriano. That is out of play left side, a ball and a strike.
It may sound trite, but Wee Willie Keeler sang years and years ago, hit them where they ain't. The Cubs have done that in this inning. 2 hits have been where Cardinals ain't.
3 runs in the inning on 5 hits, 2 errors, and a pass ball. And Dale Swain is loving every minute of it as his team is turning things around here on the north side of Chicago. Run 1 is a fastball by the bat of Rizzo, and the count 1-2. Rizzo had a rough June. Hit just .231, 2 home runs. Bases loaded, 2 out, and that's foul. And in this ballpark, seemingly more than any other across baseball, foul balls get into the crowd more dangerously and faster than any park because the seats are just so close to home plate. So it makes this place so great for those sitting behind here at Wrigley. 1 ball, 2 strikes, bases loaded, 2 out, 3 runs are home. And Rizzo takes ball 2. A long bottom of the second. To the shortstop, Descalso thought about second, goes to first to end the inning. A 3-run second for Chicago, a frustrating inning for the Cardinal right-hander Lance Lynn on a beautiful Saturday night in Chicago. 3-1 Cubs after 2. Back after this from your local Fox station. presented by Taco Bell. Chevrolet is the official vehicle of Major League Baseball, and they're celebrating a new season for new memories. For your chance to win a community field makeover and an all-new 2014 Impala, visit ChevyBaseball.com. Rarely have we done a game where we have as much time as we have after these half innings. Garza is taking time in the dugout before he goes out to warm up and takes this tremendous leap over the third base foul line. Now he's about set to go. Mentioned it standing room only here at Wrigley Field. Maybe because there's so many scouts in attendance here, they took up all the seats.
There are a lot of them here.
There are some of them, and they get good seats, and why not? If you're the Cubs, there's Cardinals general manager John Mozeliak right in the middle there. If you're the Cubs, give the scouts the best seat in the house to try and see if they like tonight's starter Matt Garza. But rarely have we seen a pitcher take this kind of time at the start of an inning.
Yeah, it's weird.
Before pitches. Here is a strike to Matt Carpenter. Cardinals got a run in the second, driven in by Tony Cruz. St. Louis has the top of the lineup here in the third inning. Carpenter, Descalso, and Beltran. That's down and in. Ashley Sheffer is celebrating her 19th birthday today, and big Cubs fan watching in the area. This place is jammed. We'll find out what scouts are here as that hits the outside corner for strike two to Carpenter. Grounded out. His first time up. Cubs left the bases loaded in the bottom of the second. And here is a 1-2 pitch to Carpenter. It's just inside 2-2.
So far, Matt Garza is showing, as he has, a very, very good arm. 94, 95 miles an hour. Moving his fastball from one side of the plate to the other. No breaking balls to this point.
Former 25th overall pick by the Twins back in 2005. As the count's gone full, then traded to Tampa Bay was Garza in late 2007. Was with the Rays in 2008. 11-9 on a team that lost in the World Series to the Phillies. Traded to the Cubs in January of 2011. Here's his 3-2. It's upstairs and a leadoff walk. So we saw some of the scouts. Ken Rosenthal has been busy digging into the pass list of the Chicago Cubs to see exactly which scouts are here. Who's represented here tonight, Kenny?
Joe, the crowd is actually not quite as large as I expected. Texas has 2 scouts here. Detroit, Baltimore, Toronto, and Pittsburgh also represented. Now keep in mind, not all of these scouts are necessarily here to see Garza. The Cubs have so many players available that different scouts could be looking at different players. Nate Scherholtz not in the lineup today. He's someone that teams are looking at, and there's some of the guys right there. Kevin Gregg, the closer, he is going to go. Alfonso Soriano could go. James Russell will be harder to get simply because he has a couple of years of control remaining, will come at a higher cost. But again, this is a high number of players who are available, and scouts are looking at virtually all of them.
Here's Rizzo trying to get the lead man, and a good dig out of the dirt by Castro. 1 out. Aggressive play by Anthony Rizzo, and he was saved by Castro at second base.
This is a very tough play by Starlin Castro, but a good one. Rizzo really taking a chance with a 2-run lead. Castro picking it. Keep in mind that the old trading deadline until 1986 used to be June 15th, and now it's July 31st.
Well, these Cubs have already traded Scott Feldman, a right-hander, to the Orioles. There's a strike on the outside part to Beltran. They traded Scott Hairston this last Sunday to Washington. Carlos Marmol is now with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Steve Clevenger, a catcher, is gone as well, and Moore figure to follow those guys out the door here with the Cubs. 1 ball, 1 strike on Beltran, who has committed an error in this game, and he's 0 for 1.
Most famous debacle as a trade by the Chicago Cubs, June 14th, 1964, when Lou Brock came to the Cardinals. And then he won the stolen base crown 8 years on his way to the Hall of Fame. And the Cardinals would not have won all those years without Lou Brock. One of the worst trades in the history of not only the Cubs, but any team.
Garza has got a weird demeanor about him in this game.
Well, you know, we talked about that. That was our first point with the scouting report tonight about throwing to first base. He has a very difficult time just throwing to first base. I'm surprised he stepped off and threw over there.
And now he changes it up and fires one over in the direction of Descalso.
Well, that's what some pitchers are so used to, firing the ball home, and when they throw to first, they lollygag it over there. Strange.
1 on, 1 out, 2 balls and a strike. Beltran takes inside, 3-1.
Don't think the scouts didn't notice that throw to first either.
Well, you talked to Mike Matheny, the Cardinal manager, about it before tonight's game with regard to bunts or taking advantage of that.
He said, we are aware of it.
Here's a 3-1. Beltran fouls it left side, out of play, a full count. Carlos has hit 19 home runs. That total good for 5th in the league. He is in year 2 of a 2-year, $26 million deal. Cardinals' top prospect was an outfielder, Oscar Taveras. It seemed like good timing and a good deal when he signed Beltran with the Cardinals, and it would be about the time that Taveras was ready, but they may want to bring him back. Carlos hops out of there. One on, 1 out, 3-2 count. Strikeout and a throwout to end the inning. And a nice job by Yadier Navarro.
And how about the play again by Starlin Castro? The slider swing and a miss, and another fine play by Castro. Responsible for 2 outs in that inning.
The double play ends it. Into the bottom of the 3rd inning we go. Cubs coming up, leading by 2. NL or AL allegiance. Don't miss the action of the upcoming All-Star game this Tuesday, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific, here on Fox. Ron Santo statue outside. We saw the Ernie Banks statue earlier. And as we play in the bottom of the third inning, the Cubs lead it 3-1. See how Lynn settles down. Here's a shot into center at the wall. Soriano's got another. Absolutely red hot with a double, a home run. Career home run number 388. And it's 4-1 Chicago here in the third.
Tremendously strong with that life strength. Almost one-hands that ball. Remember, that's against the wind.
So the first pitch of the bottom of the third inning is driven out of the park by Soriano. And Ken talked about how it's kind of mysterious that Soriano is not more prominently mentioned in the trade rumors, and he may just force his way into those conversations the way he's been hitting the ball. 1 ball, 1 strike on Navarro.
Very good point.
He's now got 9 home runs over his last 15 games, 19 RBIs, and in this game tonight a double and a home run. Here's a 1-1. On the inside corner, strike 2. The 1-2 pitch is outside, 2-2. The Cubs won 2 of 3 from Pittsburgh, beat the White Sox in a makeup game on Monday, split a 2-game set with the Angels, and trying to win 2 of the first 3 against the Cardinals. Here's a line drive caught by Freese, 1 out. We will give you our Just for Men Auto Stop Foolproof stat, and it's Alfonso Soriano since the 28th of June. His team is 8-6. He's now got 9 home runs, 19 RBIs, and his average is just under 370. Ken mentioned the knee injury that he was playing through last year, and he just looks like a healthier ball player than really at any point last season as Bogusevic fouls one out of play left side.
Our producer Pete Macheska was walking through the clubhouse, and I had told Soriano that we were going to show that shot off Schilling in 2001, Game 7 of the World Series. He said, would you mind very politely, would you mind sending me a copy of that? And Pete promised him, so now I made it public, so the heat's on Pete.
2 quick strikes on Bogusevic.
But he will get that clip. He said, I haven't seen that in a long, long time. But obviously very proud of that home run off Schilling.
Here's one inside, a ball and 2 strikes. He went to Texas. Now he's been in Chicago. He's got a 1.5 years left on an 8-year deal. That 2001 World Series must seem like a lifetime ago to him.
Yeah.
Does to me. With 1 out, nobody on, that's inside, 2-2. Cubs have a 3-run lead for Matt Garza, who is 4-0 with an ERA under 1 over his last 5 starts. Here's a 2-2 pitch. That is outside, a full count. Lance Lynn's 3-2 pitch on the way, and a ground ball back to Lynn. Nice play. 2 out. Ken Rosenthal, it's not so easy, though, to just trade away Alfonso Soriano. He has some say in the matter.
He does, Joe, and he is a player with 10 years of service, 5 consecutively with the same team, so he could reject any deal, and he actually did reject one last summer to the San Francisco Giants. But it's a year later. He is still owed a little bit less than $8 million this year, $18 million next year, but the Cubs are willing to assume a significant chunk of that. And while Soriano is comfortable here, he told me that depending on the city and the team, he would consider a trade.
And he also said during the week, he was quoted as saying, you know, I'm not going to stay in a place where they don't want me. And it wasn't said in any way other than if they want to get rid of me and it's to a place where I don't mind going, I'll go. And I would imagine with the way, Tim, he's going, there are a lot of teams that are going to start looking really closely.
I think so. Dale Swaim saying, and not saying it from a patronizing standpoint, but saying that Soriano's among the top 5 players he's ever been around from a work ethic standpoint and from a guy who really is intelligent on the field and goes about his job very professional.
Well, he would be just the 5th major league player in MLB history to get to the 400 home run, 300 stolen base plateau. And that seems just like a matter of time as pitch number 4 of the at bat is on the outside corner, and Sapelt is gone to end the inning. An inning that started with that from Soriano, his 16th of the season. 4-1 Cubs after 3 at Wrigley. The official multivitamin of MLB, and by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Dale Swaim, the manager of the Chicago Cubs, is with us. And Dale, we've talked up here a lot about how it seems like your ball club is really turning things around. You got to be standing down there awfully proud of the way your guys are playing right now.
Well, yeah, I am. You know, we played really well over the last probably 6 weeks. A few games over 500. You know, Sori's been really hot lately. Obviously, you guys can see that tonight. But you know, we're just getting key contributions. But you know, the bottom line is our starting pitching has been really good for a long time. Yeah,
and your guy tonight looks like he's brought his good stuff. He's taking his own sweet time, but he has brought his good stuff here tonight.
Yeah, he can be a little deliberate, but you know, he's been really good for about 5 or 6 starts now, and obviously got some good command and doing a good job tonight as well.
Dale, thanks for your time.
All right, guys.
Dale Swaim in his second year as manager of the Cubs. Well respected in that clubhouse as Alan Craig grounds one sharply to third. Valbuena makes the play without an issue, 1 out. I like the selection of Dale Swaim as the manager of this team. He brings about him and with him kind of a grit to this club that it seemed to lack in previous years.
I think it was a grit that I didn't know existed with Dale, but there were a lot of people that did. He almost had the Boston job, in fact.
Here's Matt Adams.
Dale Swaim, formerly a coach with the Milwaukee Brewers. He was a coach with the Red Sox and Terry Francona. Good man.
Adams took a ball. Matt got the first base hit of the night, floated one into left field, and then scored the first run driven in by Tony Cruz, the Cardinal catcher, as the count's gone to 2-0. So he is 1 for 1, adding to that .309 average. Got a game break coming up as we approach the All-Star break, and plenty for us to talk to. You see a Ranger Tiger update coming. Here's a fly ball into shallow center. Late break by Bogus Sevig, and it's going to drop in for a base hit. Neither one hard hit, but Matt Adams is 2 for 2. And let's go to Matt at the MLB Network studios for a game break.
Joe, likely AL All-Star starter Max Scherzer looking to become the 4th pitcher since 1920 to go 14-0, top of the 4th, and Mitch Moreland gets him for a 2-run shot. How tough are the Tigers on Max Scherzer nights? This is the first time they've trailed by 3 when he started. Joe and Tim, back to you guys.
Yeah, he's got the 13-0 record. He's also had a ton of run support. Starters not named pitching-wise for the upcoming All-Star game. He is certainly in line for that. As you look at his numbers for the first-place Tigers, 13-0, good ERA, a lot of strikeouts. Trying to go to 14-0 tonight. His team's going to have to come back. 1 ball, 1 strike on David Freese. Freese fly to center his first time up.
Well, if there's a team that can come back, it's the Detroit Tigers. What a lineup. With that guy batting third.
Got 95 RBIs.
Oh, unbelievable.
Miguel Cabrera.
30 home runs, 95 RBIs already.
Hitting .367. So the guy that won the Triple Crown a year ago is leading in every category except home runs. And that's because Chris Davis of the Orioles is leading the way with 36. Had one today in an Oriole loss. Here's a 1-2. Freese just spoils it. Chris Davis, meanwhile, has 89 RBIs, so he's got another day to get to 90 or more RBIs. You could have 2 guys with 30/90 plus at the break. Here's a 1-2, fouled away again. Here are the numbers for Chris Davis for the Orioles, currently in 3rd place in the AL East. In case you haven't been watching the Tampa Bay Rays, they've been hot. They've won 8 of their last 10 at the start of the day, and they've jumped into 2nd in the AL East. That's too far inside. 2-2. Freese had a rough April. Started the season on the DL with a bad back. Then picked it up in May and June, but July, it's been a rough start to this month. Here's a 2-2. That's into the gap in right center field. This ball's going to get down and go to the wall. Matt Adams will dig around second, make it to third on a double by Freese. Second and third, 1 out.
Joe, you mentioned the grit of Dale Swaim. What about the grit of David Freese in this at bat? He finally got a pitch out over the plate. Those Cardinal right-handers love the ball out over the plate. They don't like to be pitched inside. So Freese with a double, and the Cardinals with another scoring opportunity.
It's into the lap of John Jay, who singled into center his first time up. You've got Jay up now. Tony Cruz, the number 8 hitter, on deck, and then the pitcher spot. St. Louis trailing by 3. Jay singled his first time up. He takes a strike over the inside corner. This is a big at bat for obvious reasons, and then maybe the not so obvious. If Jay can't produce something here, first base is open with a pitcher to follow. 1 out already in the inning. Fly ball into center. Matt Adams will tag. Bogusevic will throw it in. Second and third, 2 out. And the former left-handed pitcher, Brian Bogusevic, just showed you his best fastball back into the infield.
Pretty good arm, hitting the cutoff man, and not deep enough to score Matt Adams. 3 runs down. The Cardinals can't take a chance.
So now Tony Cruz, but first base is open. Nobody in the Cardinal bullpen, and the pitcher next. And no surprise, the intentional walk is coming to Cruz. RBI single his first time up.
This could be interesting because Garza's got to throw those little lollipops. And if he has a tough time throwing to first, see, he's throwing it harder than he normally would on purpose. Because if he lets up, he's wild with it.
Well, baseball history has certain guys that you can name over the course of time that have had a tough time with something that should come just so naturally to somebody at this level. You think about Mackey Sasser, a former catcher with the New York Mets, even for the Cardinals, Rick Ankiel. Chuck Knobloch, another guy.
Knobloch, yeah.
Steve Sachs.
Yep.
With the Dodgers, just routine throws that are anything but routine. So that loads him up, and it's now up to Lance Lynn with the bases loaded, 2 out. Cardinals have a long reliever in Carlos Martinez. If Mike Matheny wanted to go that direction and get him up with this at bat looming for Lynn, but he sticks with his starting pitcher, and Lance Lynn, who fly to center his first time, is 3 for 28 at the plate this season. Should end the inning. Darwin Vardy into his right, and the inning is over. The Cardinals now have left 5. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning here at Wrigley. Cubs leading it 4-1. MLB Fan Cave to check out all the fun. Go to MLBFanCave.com to see all the great Fan Cave videos as well. We move into the bottom of the fourth inning. Cubs coming up. It'll be Darwin Barney, Matt Garza, and Luis Valbuena for Chicago, leading by 3. One more game to go, and for these two teams, they get the honor of playing on Sunday night, which is good. And then for a team like the Cardinals sending 5 guys to the All-Star game, it makes the travel a little tougher getting to New York after the ball game at Wrigley tomorrow night. Barney reached on an error, and he did so on catcher's interference back in that 3-run second, and that foul ball is strike 1. Tony Cruz was guilty of that. So that went as an error on Cruz, his first of the season. And in that inning, an unearned run scored against Lance Lynn, the first unearned run he's allowed this season. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Hard hit, base hit through the left side, and Barney is on for the second time in this game.
So for those of you who may not know that rule, even though it's an error on the catcher, there is no official at bat charged to Barney. So Barney, on base with catcher's interference and a base hit, is now 1 for 1 on the night.
And here's Garza. He was up there to bunt back in the second, and he bunted one over the head of Lance Lynn unintentionally. They went for a base hit. He's up there most likely to bunt yet again. And he pops up another.
Try the same area.
This one had a little more hang time to it, and Matt Adams is there for out number 1.
A little more toward first, and Matt Adams charging made the play easily.
So Garza does not advance the runner. Barney stays at first, 1 out, and Luis Valbuena, who struck out with the bases loaded back in the second prior to an infield base hit by Starlin Castro, 0 for 2, stands in. Off the hands and backing out of play, strike 1. That's Darwin Barney over at first base, who is trying to shield his eyes from the sun as he looks over at David Bell, his third base coach. And at the moment trying to read Lance Lynn. Here's a high fly ball into right, back at the wall. It is into the basket, a home run, a 2-run shot for Valbuena. And Matt Garza has a bigger lead. It's 6-1 here in the fourth.
Those baskets were inserted on the base of the stands, I think 1969 or 70. I remember Ferguson Jenkins, who was a Hall of Fame right-hander for the Cubs, was very upset about that because he said, you know, with the wind blowing in, you get the fly ball, and guys could make a play like that. Well, just out of the reach of the right fielder.
And now this one off David Freese into left center, and Starlin Castro is going to end up at second base. Hustling out of the box, and he's there with 1 out.
Those balls hit by Cubs are finding some weird holes where no Cardinal defenders are. But you're right about Castro exploding out of the box, and his hustle allows him to take the extra base.
It's an error on David Freese. That's his 4th of the season, and the 3rd tonight committed by the Cardinals. And This is the worst of all possibilities for Mike Matheny, the Cardinal manager, because he had an opportunity to use a pinch hitter in the top of this inning with the bases loaded, elected to stay with Lance Lynn. Lynn has given up a home run. Now Carlos Martinez is getting ready anyway. And that scoring chance for the Cardinals ended on a weak ground ball hit by Lynn to the second baseman in the top of this inning. Carlos Martinez is a prize in this Cardinal organization. Just 21 years old, came up on Thursday. The 3 errors, a season high for the Cardinals, and we're only in the 4th. 2-0 now, the count on Rizzo. Now right-hander Keith Butler gets loose for the Cardinals in their pen. That's a strike. And the count 2-1. It's Rizzo now. It's Soriano on deck. Here's a 2-1. 3 balls and a strike. Lance Lynn, a winner his last time out, but had struggled into that start. It had been one bad inning, seemingly 5 previous starts. He has not been helped out much tonight, but has also allowed 2 home runs, and now his first walk of the night, and it's first and second, only 1 out here in the 4th inning.
Lance, not a thought about pitching around Rizzo, even though Anthony has good power with 13 home runs, but not as hot as Soriano's been.
So here he is, Alfonso Soriano, with a double, a home run, 2 runs scored, and he is going to get to face Lance Lynn for the 3rd time tonight. Faced him in the 2nd, the 3rd, now here in the 4th. Ball 1. Left side might be 2. A double clutch by Freese, but they still turn it. 5-4-3, and Soriano's retired for the first time tonight. 2 more runs and a shot by Valbuena. 6-1 Cubs after 4. You are listening to Pearl Jam's new single, Mind Your Manners. Pearl Jam will be playing here at Wrigley this Friday. The new album, Lightning Bolt, will be available October 15th. And they are on a North American tour this fall. And there isn't a bigger Cubs fan than Eddie Vedder anywhere you travel. And I know for a fact he keeps gloves and baseballs in a traveling case, and before they do shows in different arenas, he's out throwing the baseball around with guys with his crew. But they are legit baseball fans, and I think he's sung "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" about 6 times or so here at Wrigley Field.
PJ
Pearl Jam Friday at Wrigley Field. That's going to be something. Here's Matt Carpenter. He takes a strike. I just have to ask you your favorite Pearl Jam song, because I just want to see the caricature pop up that's on the graphic.
Mind Your Manners. That's a new release.
That's right.
That's hot.
There you go. Yellow Ledbetter release. Mind Your Manners for the tuxedoed Tim McCarver.
I try to stay away from any song named Release.
1 ball, 1 strike, says the ex-baseball player. A ground ball to second. Darwin Barney gathers it in and throws out Carpenter, who's 0 for 2.
There we go. Mind Your Manners.
A little harder edge. Eddie sounds angry. Their documentary, by the way, you're a big movie guy. 20, phenomenal.
I missed that one.
1 out, nobody on for Descalso. He takes inside, ball 1. Daniel is 0 for 2. He's grounded out. Did so back in the first to the first baseman, then reached on a force out and was out stealing on a strikeout with Beltran at the plate to end the top of the 3rd. That's back to the screen, a ball and a strike.
That's a pitch to hit right there. When you're down by 5 runs, I know this sounds strange, but it's easier to hit because a lot of the pitches that you get are predictable. There's no way a guy like Garza, who's an experienced guy, is going to pitch around you or like he would perhaps in a tie game, 1 or 2 run game.
Right side for Rizzo. Feeds Garza, going to the bag, 2 out. Well, if you are Jed Hoyer, the young executive vice president, GM of the Cubs, or Theo Epstein, who is the president of baseball operations, you are watching tonight's game and you've seen Soriano hit a double and a home run. You've seen Matt Garza do what he's been doing over his last 5 starts. You're looking at opportunity here knocking, and I'm sure the Cubs front office has their scouts scouring the minor leagues looking for talent from some contender.
Well, they've got about 3 weeks with which to do it. Trading deadline, of course, July 31st.
Beltran takes a strike. Beltran, a career .349 hitter here at Wrigley Field. The 8-time All-Star is 0 for 2. He's fly to center, struck out. Pitch up and in, a ball and a strike. Here's a 1-1 from Garza. Down and in, 2-1. Cardinals and Cubs have split the last 28 games they've played here. Cubs winners on Thursday. Cardinals won yesterday. Cubs having the majority of the fun tonight. They have scored 6 unanswered runs. Here's a 2-1. That's down the line, 2-2. Since 2010, there are the 14 wins on each side. Swaim has only been in charge since last year. Same for Matheny. Here's a 2-2. Just inside a full count. Mike Quaddy preceded Dale Swaim, and of course Tony La Russa preceded Mike Matheny, and pretty good tailing action on that pitch from Garza. Did not get the call, so a full count. And Beltran with a floating base hit into left. 1 for 3 on the night, and that will bring to the plate Alan Craig here in the 5th. There are the numbers for Allen. Craig, who was rewarded for his good run production during the spring with a $31 million extension. Great production for the Cardinals out of Craig and Beltran. In essence, the two guys that have picked up the offensive slack after the departure of Albert Pujols to Anaheim. Ball 1 high.
We talked about the Cardinal right-handed batters not liking that ball inside. The guy that really showed the country that you could pitch him inside was Ryan Vogelsong of the Giants last year. To give you an idea, pitching 2 great games, I mean great games against a very good hitting team, but crowding those right-handed hitters all night. We'll try to give you a sample.
Garza pulled the string here as we flash back to last NLCS. The guy at the plate now, Alan Craig, that was David Freese. Those right-handed batters were worked in and hard by Vogelsong.
It was a clinic. I mean, pinpoint accuracy right in on the hands. A lot to learn from that series.
The 1-1 just outside.
Slider missed.
Craig digs his way back in. His average was 3rd best in the league at the start of the day at .328. He's grounded out twice. The 2-1 smashed foul outside third. 2-2. And Jose Oquendo, who is pushed back way out of that coaching box down the third baseline, got out of the way as the count went even. 2-2. Where would you stand with this guy at the plate?
Farther back.
Here's a 2-2 pitch. Reaching for it, and Castro makes the play to end the inning. Craig 0 for 3 on the night, halfway through it on a beautiful night in Chicago. More Pearl Jam. 6-1. Cubs on top. town this week in this great city, Chicago, Illinois. And Wrigley Field, home of the Chicago Cubs. Glad you're with us on a Saturday night, baseball night in America. Cubs having fun, leading 6-1. And Yadier Navarro is first up against Lynn, who's trying to get through 5.
Saturday in the park. Thought it was the 4th of July.
Here's a 1-0. Ground ball right side for Carpenter. 1 out. And we welcome you inside our broadcast booth. So right now the Cardinals are game up in the NL Central, and the Cubs continue to impress, Tim, as they have over the last couple of weeks.
I was just checking the scoreboard out. The Mets are over the Pirates 2-0 after 4.5. That's a big game. But the Cardinals cannot shake the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are a very, very good ball club.
They've got pitching. They've got a good lineup. We'll see Pedro Alvarez in the All-Star game on Tuesday night. And he has been a late addition to the home run hitting contest, which happens on Monday night. Here's a foul backing out of play off the bat of Bogusevic. And since you looked up at that scoreboard, it evidently has changed to 2-1. Pittsburgh is on the board. Mets still on top. Here's one to the right of Carpenter. Diving stop, but no play. And Bogusevic is on with 1 out here in the 5th. His first hit of the night.
Nice play by Carpenter to come up with it. Boy, that's a play that can damage a left hand. That thing curling under there. We've seen so many wrist sprains, hamate bone problems with guys who had that wrist curl up under their body, but Matt appears to be all right.
3rd infield hit for the Cubs in this game. And it's 1 on, 1 out for Sapelt. Here's a fly ball down the right field line toward the bullpen and out of play. Strike 1.
Also a guy who earned an all-star spot, Jason Grilli, with 28 saves this year. He had 5 career saves coming into this year. 5.
The Cardinals really didn't take off until they found a closer in Mujica. And the Pirates proving that I don't think you can find consistent success without a closer in this game today. Here's a base hit through the left side. Sapelt is on, and it's 2 on, 1 out here in the 5th inning. Tonight's telecast, presented by Taco Bell, is sponsored by Universal Pictures' new film R.I.P.D. in theaters Friday. And that is going to be it for Lance Lynn, and this is a start sure he will be happy to put behind him. And he may have to think about it for a while with the All-Star break coming up. Butler is coming in, 2 on, 1 out. Lynn is pulled here in the 5th inning. Darwin Barney coming up when we come back. 3rd of July for Keith Butler to make an appearance. One of the new young arms in that Cardinal bullpen. 2 on, 1 out. And a good breaking ball has Barney frozen at the plate. Strike 1.
How about that? Hasn't pitched in 10 days and threads the corner with a good curveball to start off Barney.
Lance Lynn giving up a career high 10 hits in just 4 1/3 innings. 3 infield hits. Defense did not help him out. Another breaking ball from Butler. And the count 0-2. A season high 2 home runs as well. One hit by Soriano, the other by Valbuena. Lead runner is Bogusevic. Sapelt is on at first, and the 0-2 pitch. There's the fastball at 91. It misses outside, ball 1. This Cardinal bullpen has really been helped by some of the kids Tim talked about earlier. This guy, Keith Butler. Seth Maness, a right-hander. Kevin Segrist, a left-hander who finally gave up a run yesterday after going his first 12 appearances without allowing a run. Michael Blazek is another right-hander they just sent out. Has good stuff. Here's a 1-2. Outside, 2-2. Little different look for the Cardinal bullpen than at the start of the season with Mitchell Boggs, who was the closer after Jason Mott went down with a bad elbow, needing Tommy John surgery. Mark Zemchitsky, the left-hander who's now at AAA. Here's a 2-2. Outside, it was 0-2, now 3-2.
Mitchell Boggs traded this week by the Cardinals.
He ends up in AA in the Colorado Rockies organization. Lynn thinking about his start tonight. Responsible for the 2 on as Butler brings home a 3-2. Runners go, and this one's hammered foul. Another 3-2 pitch, breaking ball, fouled back. And that's been Butler's best pitch of the 2 he's featured so far. The fastballs have missed. Breaking balls have been good, and the runners were going again.
That's one of the beauties of the Cardinal bullpen. It seems like all the young pitchers are different. Maness has a sinker. Butler has the breaking ball. Trevor Rosenthal can overpower you. Segrist gave up his first run last night in 13 appearances this year, a home run in the 8th inning. They're all different and they're all talented, and none were drafted above the 11th round. None.
Butler is ready with another 3-2 pitch. Runners are going again. A strikeout and no throw anywhere as the runners advance to second and third as Garza, the pitcher, comes to the plate. Barney could not figure out that Keith Butler curveball, and here is Garza, second and third, 2 out. Fastball misses, ball 1. The Cardinals have Carlos Martinez getting loose again. And you would have to believe that he'll be the long man tonight and get a little action after being recalled from AAA Memphis. He is worth watching. And now Garza hit by a pitch. Looked like a breaking ball. That'll load the bases, and If there ever was an unintentional hit batsman, a 72-mile-per-hour pitch hits the pitcher to load the bases, well, this would be it.
Yeah, that was not even close to being intentional. That's a breaking ball. The crowd overreacting, not only in the field, but on the rooftops across the street. Wrigleyville overreaction.
Here's Valbuena. 2-run home run his last time up. Strike one. For Luis, his 8th home run gives him 29 RBIs. The Cubs during the week inked their top pick, 2nd overall, Chris Bryant, their 3rd baseman of the future, to a $6.7 million bonus. Here's one down toward the end of the bat, shallow right, and Beltran is there to end the inning. Cubs now have stranded 7. We played 5. Cubs leading 6-1. Taco Bell is sponsored by Ace, the helpful place, and by Ford and their spectacular summer sales event. Give you our Fox Sports 1 game summary presented by Fox Sports 1, America's new sports network, coming August 17th. Alfonso Soriano with a solo shot in the 3rd inning. Luis Valbuena hit a 2-run home run in the 4th. The Cardinals 3 errors tonight, season high. And that did not give Lance Lynn much support. Sports' biggest event of the summer is heading to New York, and the events start on Monday with a home run derby on ESPN. Then on Tuesday, the Midsummer Classic kicks off with the red carpet show on MLB Network, followed by the All-Star Game at 7:30 Eastern right here on Fox. This is definitely an un-Cardinal-like night against the Cubs with 3 errors. A hit batsman. Catcher's interference is obviously listed twice. It goes down as an error. A passed ball. A couple of stolen bases allowed. And Matt Garza has outpitched Lance Lynn, who was just taken out of the ball game in the 5th. When you look at the pass ball, the error by the catcher and the catcher's interference, remember Yadier Molina on his 31st birthday has the night off as they try and limit his work. Matt Adams takes a ball. One of the real strong attributes of Mike Matheny is his ability to manage that man, Yadier Molina. Here's a 1-0. And I say that because Molina is one of those guys that just does not want to sit on the bench. Even his body language, and obviously it's a frustrating night for that entire team, but he wants to play. And if there's one manager that would have Molina's respect, it would be Matheny, who was the veteran catcher when Yadier Molina came to the big leagues.
You know how he's feeling. You know what he's thinking. And you know he understands you're resting him occasionally, even though he doesn't want it.
Adams strikes out, and the strong start for Garza continues. That's strikeout number 2. And out number 1 here in the 6th.
Good breaking ball out of the zone to Adams, who had flared to 1 to left, 1 to center. Garza gets him with the breaking ball.
With 1 out, here's Freese, who doubled his last time up. Strike 1. Freese fly to center in the 2nd, doubled into right center in the 4th. Hit 163 with no home runs in April, 310 during the months of May and June with all 5 of his home runs, and he started this game hitting just 222 with 2 RBIs in July. So he has been down, then up, now trying to find it again. Waits for a 1-1 pitch. Left side, tough play. Diving stop, Valbuena. He got him for the out, 2 away.
Now Valbuena really sticking with that ball after he dropped it full extension off the end of the glove. Picked it up with his bare hand, strong throw to get Freese. Nicely done.
Took a hit away and turns in out number 2. Matt Garza's got to be happy to get that kind of support. And obvious there with 2 out in the 6th. Here's John Jay. Strike 1, 93 from Garza. With 2 out, the base is empty. Here's a base hit, 2nd of the night for Jay. 2 out of 3 on the night, and he will be on at first with Tony Cruz coming up. Cruz an RBI single his first time, then was intentionally walked. In the top of the 4th, Mike Matheny let Lance Lynn hit. He grounded out with the bases loaded. It was a 3-run game at the time, and then when Lynn took the mound to the bottom of the 4th, Valbuena hit a 2-run home run to make it 6-1. Ball 1. One of 3 catchers the Cardinals have, Rob Johnson, is in the on-deck circle. They're playing with a short bench with the injury to Matt Holliday and his hamstring. That's a strike. 1-1.
Rob Johnson brought up from AAA Memphis specifically to help Molina rest. The Cardinals carrying 3 catchers. That's very unusual in this day and age. Usually you have your 3rd guy who's a utility player who can catch in an emergency.
Here's a 1-1. Strike 2. So Cruz backs out of there, set up at 1-2. Garza has allowed 7 hits. Cubs have piled up 10. Here's a 1-2. Strikeout ends the inning. started the inning and now ends the inning, and that's 3 on the night for Matt Garza, who has been in control on this beautiful night in Chicago. 6-1, Cubs on top.
New York and Pittsburgh, the Bucks trying to beat the Mets for the 5th straight matchup. Andrew McCutchen's 10th of the year evens it at 2. A win today, and the Pirates would have the 2nd most wins before the All-Star break in franchise history. Royals and Indians in Kansas City trying to come back from a 5-1 deficit. Alcides Escobar beats out a 2-out infield single to drive in a pair. 5-3 Tribe in the 7th as we get you back to Joe and Tim at Wrigley.
Matt, thanks. At the start of the day, the Indians were just 2.5 games out behind Detroit. Told you Max Scherzer started the game for Detroit. Tigers are losing 4-1 in that game, while the Indians and first-year manager, at least in Cleveland, Terry Francona, right there in the AL Central. New pitcher is one of the most exciting young arms to come along in a while, although it just seems like, as Carlos Martinez misses to make the count 2-0, one of these guys is popping up night after night across baseball.
Well, that's a fact.
Here's a 2-0 pitch.
They're everywhere.
That's outside. Martinez was up earlier and pitching out of the bullpen. The Cardinals sent him down with Michael Wacha to stretch out his starters. That's a strike on a borderline pitch, 3-1. Martinez, since he had been sent out, was 3-2 with an ERA of 1.98.
Pitching to his catcher who caught him in Memphis, Rob Johnson.
He takes over behind the plate. That's the double switch. The pitcher's batting the number 8 spot. Johnson hitting 9th. Here's a 3-1. Hard hit. Foul down the right field line as Castro almost dropped that one fair and may have cracked his bat. But he's going to keep it after he makes sure. This ball just foul, and Starlin Castro back in the box with a full count. Martinez brings it. Still full. Javier Baez is a young shortstop in the system. He is 20 years old, was just promoted to Double-A. And you wonder, as Starlin Castro plays here at the big league level, 2-time All-Star, if at some point he isn't moved as he strikes out on a 98-mile-per-hour fastball upstairs for out number 1 here in the 6th inning. Starlin Castro is athletic enough if they needed to move him to the outfield to find room for the younger shortstop. But the Cubs want to start diving into problems like that where they have too much talent, trying to find places for them to play.
Yeah, they'd love that. Starlin Castro, however, is not as sure-handed as the young Baez. He had 29 errors 2 years ago to lead the major leagues and 27 last year, tied for the league.
Here's Rizzo 0 for 2 with a walk. Castro with a couple of good plays defensively in this one.
But could be better suited. Pardon me, Joe, could be better suited for the outfield.
Here's ball 2 down and in, 2-1. Rizzo's hit 13 home runs. Came in tonight hitting 246. 2-1. 3-1 from Martinez. Michael Blazek was sent out. Martinez came up on Thursday for just this type opportunity, and the count goes full now on Rizzo. And Rizzo didn't like that call, so he takes his time getting back in. 3 balls, 2 strikes. And we'll do it again. Martinez is down at AAA, as I mentioned, with Michael Wacha. Wacha was the first-round pick of the Cardinals last year out of Texas A&M. And it looks like the Cardinals have 2 young right-handers they are going to be able to count on in future seasons. The question is, do they add somebody here in 2013 as Rizzo strikes out, 2 out? Ken Rosenthal is with us, and Kenny, it seems like with uncertainty with a couple of members of this rotation for the Cardinals, with a team as good as they are, lineup-wise, bullpen-wise, this may be a team that needs to add a starting pitcher.
Joe, they certainly do give that appearance. And you look at Lynn, he's been inconsistent. Shelby Miller, 5.52 ERA his last 6 starts. Jake Westbrook missed a month earlier with elbow inflammation. Now they've got the kids, Martinez and Wacha, as you just mentioned. And they've got Chris Carpenter making his first rehab start Monday, but his return is hardly guaranteed. Now, you mentioned Cliff Lee before, and he's a really interesting name. The Phillies probably won't trade Lee under any circumstances, but they lost Ryan Howard earlier this week to knee surgery. Today, their center fielder Ben Revere suffered a broken right foot, and you wonder if the Phillies will hold on to all of their talent.
1 ball, 1 strike on Soriano. 2 out, nobody on, and here's a ground ball to the shortstop, Descalso. To his left, makes the play. A 1-2-3 inning for the kid. Carlos Martinez into the 7th inning we go. Still 6-1 Chicago. Back after this from your local Fox station. by Taco Bell. As we go into the 7th inning here at Wrigley Field, beautiful night. Cubs having all the fun, and we take a look at the Fox Sports 1 pitcher comparison presented by Fox Sports 1, America's new sports network, coming August 17th. Matt Garza has been terrific. Lance Lynn gave a career-high 10 hits and 4 1/3, and Garza back out there for more as he will work to Rob Johnson, Matt Carpenter, and Daniel Descalso in a 5-run game. The career numbers for Rob Johnson and the Cardinals are not surprised, but appreciative of what they're getting at the AAA level from a guy who's spent time in the big leagues molding some of these young pitchers the Cardinals have been able to bring up and use here at the big league level this season.
We talked to him before the game, and Rob trying to impress upon the young pitchers that just throwing strikes is not enough in the major leagues. Don't use the fat part of the plate. You have to live on the corners, inside, outside.
First pitch, a strike.
Rob with a pinch hit triple in yesterday's game, and it turned out to be a big hit. It was the winning run when he was driven in. His first pinch hit triple in his life.
He shatters his bat, pops it into shallow left center, and Castro out to grab it, 1 out. And if that bat made the trip from Memphis to the St. Louis Cardinals, it will not make the trip back.
That a hero's death, isn't that what the hitters say?
That's right. Although it just went as a flare out for out number 1. So Wonder Boy it was not.
No.
Here's Carpenter, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. Matt started the game 5th best average in the league at .320 and a terrific on base percentage in the number 1 spot in the batting order. A .403 on base percentage. Here's the 0-1. In for a strike from Garza, and everything's been working for the Chicago right-hander.
For the last 6 starts, as a matter of fact. Trying to throw his 6th consecutive start of 7 innings and giving up 1 earned run or less.
Matt Carpenter, an all-star, voted in by the players' vote. Looks at ball 1, down and in, 1-2.
Players voted the right side of the infield in for the Cardinals. Alan Craig, even though he's playing left tonight, and Matt Carpenter.
Here's the 1-2 pitch and a base hit through the right side. So Carpenter is on for the 2nd time tonight. It'll bring in Descalso and bring to your television sets Ken Rosenthal, who talks to us about how Matt Carpenter told his family he was an all-star.
Right. What he did, Joe, was take a picture of the envelope he was given that said National League All-Star 2013, and he texted it to his wife Mackenzie, his parents Rick and Tammy, his brother and sister, and he said everyone got really emotional right away. He called them all later, and there were tears all around. He comes from a baseball family. His father, Rick, was his high school baseball coach. He was a high school teammate of James Loney, so it was a really big moment for the Carpenter family.
Thanks, Ken. Here's a strike to Descalso. Ken will stay with us, and it wasn't just Carpenter who found out in a nice way from the Cardinals and manager Mike Matheny that he was an all-star, but Matheny turned it into a group event. Here's the 0-1 to Descalso, strike 2. Right, Ken?
And it was a really cool way of telling the players they were all-stars. He gathered the team after a game in Miami. First, he announced the names of Yadier Molina and Carlos Beltran. They were the 2 players elected by the fans. Then he announced Carpenter and Adam Wainwright. They were player selections. And finally, he got to Alan Craig, who was the choice of manager Bruce Bochy. Matheny told me he wanted the whole team present. He considered the selections an honor for the club, and also he wanted the players to celebrate with their teammates.
Well, Kenny, thanks, and they will get a chance to leave as Guerrier, the former Dodger, gets loose for the Cubs out in their bullpen, 1 on, 1 out. This contingent of Cardinals will leave after tomorrow night's game and head to New York. 5 of them at the moment. That is down and in. 2 balls, 2 strikes from Matt Garza. Yadier Molina, an all-star for the 5th time. Wainwright, an all-star for the 2nd time. Beltran, the 8th time, and first time for Craig and Carpenter. That's up and away, a full count. With Matt Guerrier getting ready for the Cubs in their bullpen. Matt's former team, the Dodgers, got a great effort tonight from Zach Greinke in a 1-0 shutout. And a win over Colorado. Here's the 3-2. That may have been touched by Garza into center field, and Carpenter will end up at third base on a base hit by Descalso. And the Cardinals making noise here in the 7th.
Good base running by Matt Carpenter. I think he did touch that ball, did Garza. Barney doesn't. Carpenter going in thinking that he's going to take the shortstop out of the play, but now has to make a wide turn to get to third base. That's very, very good base running. Because first you think you're going to try to take the shortstop out, and now you see the ball get through, the play's in front of you, and you go to third base. Nice.
Well, here's Beltran, and one swing by the Cardinal All-Star could make this a completely different feeling ball game. Carlos is 1 for 3 on the night, has 19 home runs on the season. Runners at first and third, 1 out. Cardinals trailing 6-1.
Time to stay away from Beltran.
Strike 1 over the outside part.
I don't think he's going to come inside. You can't take a chance. Beltran, with those 19 home runs you were talking about, Joe. Make a mistake away, it's a hit. You make a mistake inside, Cardinals are back in the game.
The 0-1 stays away again, and Beltran fouls it away, strike 2. No Matt Holliday in the Cardinal lineup tonight, or tomorrow night for that matter, out with a bad hamstring. Beltran up in a key spot, not close with ball 1. Guerrier ready to go. But right now it's Garza and Beltran. .107 pitches on the night for Matt Garza. Here's a 1-2. 2-2. On deck is the Cardinals' RBI machine, Alan Craig, who is the best in baseball 2 years running now with runners in scoring position. This is a big spot in this game, but to this point has been dominated by the Cubs. Here's the 2-2. That keeps Beltran at the plate. Deanna Navarro out to talk to Garza, give Beltran a moment to let the pain subside as that foul ball hit the right foot or ankle area for Beltran. And Garza will have to bring home another 2-2. So the pitch count getting up there for Garza. Dealing with a Cardinal All-Star right fielder. Another 2-2 pitch. Struck him out on a pitch up and away. 2 gone.
Boy, did that fastball have some life. We talked about that pitch up and away earlier in the game, and that gets Beltran. A little extra juice from Garza to get Beltran.
And now Alan Craig with runners at the corners and 2 out. The inning started with Rob Johnson, a little flare pop-up caught by Castro. Back-to-back hits by Carpenter and Descalso, a strikeout of Beltran. Now if the Cardinals can do anything with this scoring chance, it's up to Alan Craig. Strike one for those of you that are dipping into this game, having watched the Dodgers beat Colorado 1-0. The Cardinals scored first in the second, but it's been all Cubs with the bats. Home runs by Soriano and Valbuena, and the right arm of Matt Garza, who's trying to get through 7. Line drive, base hit left field. Alan Craig knocks home RBI number 73. And it's a 6-2 game here in the 7th.
After making perhaps Garza's best pitch of the night, striking out Beltran, he makes his worst pitch of the night to Craig, a hanging slider, and Craig drives in run number 2 for the Cardinals.
He also makes his last pitch of the night. Dale Swaim, the manager for the Cubs, out. Take the ball away from Garza, and they will let him hear it here at Wrigley. Upset he could not get through the 7th, and now it's Matt Adams against Matt Guerrier. 2 on, 2 out, ball 1 outside. Guerrier was picked up from the Dodgers July 3rd. Actually added to the Cubs roster on the 3rd. Acquired on the 2nd for Carlos Marmol. Had been designated for assignment by the Dodgers. The two teams just swapped struggling right-handed relievers. There's a strike, but Guerrier's pitched well. He gave up a run yesterday in game 2 of this 4-game set to the Cardinals, but you can start to see bullpen roles being figured out by this group. for Dale Swain. Runners at first and second, 2 out. Adams jumps back from ball 2.
It's interesting to note that that wind has shifted now. It was blowing straight in, and now it's blowing out to left field. And Matt Adams has tremendous power to left field, to all fields, as a matter of fact.
He could make it a 1-run game. He has hit 7 home runs this season, 2 hits tonight. 2 of the 10 allowed by Garza. Here is a 2-1 pitch. Inside, 3-1. David Freese on deck. If he bats, he'll represent the tying run here in the 7th. Three-1 to Adams. Fouled back, and he took a big rip.
Good pitch to hit right there. Deanna Navarro out to talk to Guerrier. You don't want to throw another one like that to the big man. 260 pounds, we said earlier. Tremendously strong.
Cardinals come into tonight having won 6 of their last 7. 5-game winning streak snapped here on Thursday. Won yesterday, 3-2. Trail tonight, 6-2. Runners will go. High fly ball into left. Soriano has it to end the inning. Guerrier comes in and shuts the door on the top of the 7th. Garza's line is complete. He and the Cubs lead 6-2 into the bottom of the 7th. And by Bud Light Lime, Limerita, and introducing new Strawberryta.
If they don't win, it's a shame. For it's 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out in the old ball game.
She sang the first one after the passing of the great Harry Carey and Dutchie Carey. Harry's widow with "Take Me Out to the Ball Game," the tradition that continues here at Wrigley as we move into the bottom of the 7th inning, and the Cubs Leading it by 4, 6-2 as Carlos Martinez has a 1-1 count on Dioner Navarro.
If you have never seen Martinez pitch, he's so impressive with that easy, loose, and understandably reminds you a little of Pedro Martinez. Little Pedro is his nickname. It may be unfair to Pedro, but maybe unfair to Carlos.
Here's a foul backing out of play. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Navarro. I would say Carlos Martinez is a little bigger and has a chance to fill out more than Pedro Martinez. The great Pedro Martinez.
Perhaps the greatest changeup in the history of the game.
And it was, what, 14 years ago today that Pedro Martinez struck out 5 of the first 6 batters in the All-Star game at Fenway Park after that moment with Ted Williams prior to the first pitch. Here's another foul by Navarro.
1999 at Fenway Park.
There it is. This date, 1971, Reggie Jackson hit that home run in Detroit off the transformer in right field as John Jay goes to his right to take care of Navarro, and Carlos Martinez has retired all 4 Cub hitters he's faced. Here is that all-star moment. 1971. Baby-faced Reggie Jackson off Doc Ellis. And it was out of the expectation of the camera operator at the time as they got to it a bit late. And that was only because that ball traveled as far as it did. Strike 1 on Bogusevic. And now ball 1.
Some of you folks out there familiar with the movie that's popular over the last 3 or 4 years, Transformers 1 and 2. That first one was produced by Reggie in '71.
Here's strike 2 as Martinez fooled Bogusevic. Cardinal right-hander brings home another, jammed him. Descalso makes the play. 2 out. One more time, go back to that home run in 1971.
There's a long drive. That one is going way up. It is off the roof. That hit the transformer up there. A tremendous smash. Only 8 players have hit the ball over the roof there in Detroit. Jackson.
And great things to come for the Hall of Famer Reggie Jackson. There's ball 1 outside to Sapelt. Dave has 2 hits, an RBI, a run scored. The 1-0 on the outside corner at 95, a ball and a strike. Breaking ball is fouled left side. Good play by David Bell, a former Cardinal. And he's going to give the ball to a young Cardinal fan. David, who played in the mid-90s for St. Louis. The 1-2. Here's a fly ball into right. Good pitch by Martinez. 3 up, 3 down again. We go to the 8th. Cardinals coming up, down by 4 with Freese, Jay, and a pinch hitter due. Breeze through the park. Temperatures are down. Julio Bourbon takes over in right field. He'll bat in the number 9 spot. And the new pitcher is Blake Parker. Good ERA through 16 games. He'll bat in the number 7 spot. Sapelt was there, was 2 out of 4. He is finished for the night. Here's David Freese. 4-run game, 6-2 Cubs. Strike 1. Parker follows Guerrier, who went 1/3 of an inning. He came on to get Matt Adams with 2 on, 2 out to end the 7th. Garza 6 2/3, 2 runs, 10 hits. A walk and 4 strikeouts. Here's the 0-1. Bounces in, a ball and a strike. Parker's 1-1 pitch. Outside, 2-1. Cardinals get a left-hander, Randy Choate, loose. They had Manus throwing just a moment ago. Pitcher spot is due up 3rd in this 8th inning. Here's a 2-1. Fouled back by Freese. 2-2.
Valuable commodities, those left-handers in the bullpen. Randy Choate coming in, getting a key double play in the 6th inning of yesterday afternoon's game. He has done a fine job for the Cardinals thus far this year.
Joined by the other left-hander, Kevin Segrist, who until yesterday had been unscored upon. Here's a 2-2. A strikeout starts the 8th. And Freese 1 for 4 on the night. The Fox Sports 1 fan cam caught fans here at the ballpark excited about Fox Sports 1, America's new sports network, coming August 17th. Excited for its debut, and we'll have a sneak peek coming up during our All-Star Game telecast, including we're going off the air on Tuesday night with your Tim McCarver's All-Star Game memories.
There have been a lot of them.
So that's how we are headed off the air on Tuesday night, and at that time we will know which league will have home field advantage in the upcoming World Series. Here's the 0-1. John Jay takes outside, a ball and a strike. Jay's 2 out of 3. 240 average at the start of the night. Came into this season as a .300 career hitter. John Mabry is the Cardinal hitting instructor, and he's been working hard with Jay to be a little bit more direct to the ball, less hand movement as the pitch is delivered, and John is up on the count here, 2-1.
That transition can sometimes be painful too. I think John's going through that. He had a better start this year, but over the last couple of months he has struggled. Last year he had his hands down, and this year trying to get the hands up a lot better. The bat perpendicular to the ground is a different approach to the ball for John Jay this year compared to last year, and he doesn't have the hitch that caused him so many problems when he had problems in 2012.
Here is a 2-2. Down and in, a full count. Shane Robinson is in the on-deck circle. Looks like he'll bat for Carlos Martinez, who was perfect through 2 with 2 strikeouts. Now a 3-2 pitch from Parker into left center field. Another hit for Jay, and this ball is going to go to the track. Bogusevic gets it back in, but it's a 1-out double and a 3 for 4 night for John Jay as he is on here in the 8th.
Right on top of that fastball away and shoots it into left center field. So a couple of singles, a double, 3-hit night for Jay. Takes some of the sting off the Cardinals trailing by 4.
Well, now with Shane Robinson digging in, the Cardinal bench is 2 deep with Molina and Cosma, with Matt Holliday unavailable. Runner at second with 1 out here in the 8th. And Shane Robinson off the bench facing Parker, strike 1. Robinson had a good June. Hit 286. Does not get a lot of action off the bench for these Cardinals, as he's now in the hole 0-2. A 1-out double by John Jay. Blake Parker digging around at the pitching rubber, trying to get something out of his spikes. Ready to bring home an 0-2. It is inside, ball 1. So the Dodgers have already won tonight behind Zach Greinke with a 2-hit shutout. Arizona, which started the day 2.5 up in the NL West, will play at home against Milwaukee. Here's a 1-2 pitch. 2-2, blocked by Navarro. Dodgers have finally climbed to 1 game above 500. And for all the talk about Yasiel Puig being voted with the internet vote onto the National League All-Star team, that did not happen. Freddie Freeman is going from Atlanta. Here's a 2-2 pitch. Full count. So it was 0-2, and Parker is making this interesting as we go here in the 8th. Dodgers 47-46, 3 better than Colorado. Defending world champs, the San Francisco Giants, are 8 games under 500 and 6.5 out. Three-2 to Robinson. Inside to put 2 on. Quickly we head to Matt Vasgersian at the MLB Network studios for a game break.
Joe, Andrew McCutchen doing it himself to try to keep the Pirates unbeaten against the New York Mets. He has homered, and he has broken a 2-2 tie with a base hit in the 7th. Now 4-2 Bucks in the bottom of the inning. Joe, back to you and Tim Wrigley.
All right, well, now a big moment here in this game as Yadier Molina gets a standing ovation from the Cardinal fans here at Wrigley Field. And the league's leading hitter will dig in with 2 on, 1 out, and his team down by 4 here in the 8th. Among Cardinal catchers since 1933, Yadier Molina will carry with him into the All-Star break the 2nd highest average to the guy to my right, Tim McCarver, back in 1967. A great year for you, a great year for the Cardinals. Hit .348 at the All-Star break. And there you go.
Yeah.
So here's Yadier Molina, who I know has your total respect for the player he has become, as he is celebrating his 31st birthday here today at Wrigley Field.
Mike Matheny did not want to do this. He didn't want to make this move. He wanted Molina to stay out, but you are forced to make the move here in the 7th inning with 2 on and trailing by 4.
And he'll have to come in to catch.
Yeah, right. Cold. And being the only Cardinal catcher left
They've used Rob Johnson. Tony Cruz started the game, and now it's Molina batting in the number 9 spot. Into right field, into the corner is Bourbon, just into the game, makes a nice catch. And now they're going to say no catch as he dropped it going to the wall. That'll load the bases. The runners had stopped as Bourbon went down into that corner and evidently lost the ball when he hit into the wall.
And you know, Joe, Molina almost passed Shane Robinson at first base, who had gone back to tag up.
Well, he missed it altogether.
He really did.
He went into that dark area down the line, a bit out of our viewing capabilities from this booth, and as he went to the line, he got it off his glove, did not make the catch, and the bases are loaded for Matt Carpenter.
And what had happened was Shane Robinson went back to tag up, and Molina is looking at the ball down the right field line. So he wasn't concerned with Robinson tagging up, but watch Robinson at first base going back to tag up, and Molina had he been going full tilt, would have passed it. As it is, the Cardinals had the bases loaded and still only 1 out. What a play.
And Bourbon, just into the game, has the baseball find him and commits an error in right. And now back to the bullpen, and James Russell, the left-hander, will come on to deal with Matt Carpenter. And just like that, it's a ball game in the 8th inning here at Wrigley. Line of sight down the right field line. It looked like he had come up with it initially, but I mean, he barely got a glove on that ball as he was closing in fast on that padded wall down the right field line, and with the runners going back to tag up, everybody just moves up 1 spot and the bases are loaded. James Russell will be the pitcher, and Matt Carpenter, the Cardinal All-Star, with 1 hit in 3 at bats plus a walk, will be the hitter.
Just thinking about that play and what Bourbon had to contend with, he was going from the light into the shadows down the right field line, so it made that play a lot more difficult than it was. Great for the Cardinals.
And now Carpenter, who singled and scored his last time up. Bases loaded. Ball 1. You've got the left-handed hitting Carpenter up now. The left-handed hitting Daniel Descalso on deck. The only left-hander in the bullpen for Chicago brings home a 1-0, and he hits the outside corner 1-1. Russell on that list of potential players to be traded away by this Cubs team approaching the deadline.
Absolutely. This guy can get you out.
Here is a 1-1. Just missed. Ball 2.
Close.
On 2-1. Carpenter fouls it back. 2-2. Matt is driven in 43. He's hit 9 home runs, so he has showed surprising pop. 5th best hitter in the league at 320 at the start of the day.
And again, more hits with 2 strikes than any other major leaguer.
The 2-2. Just inside, a full count. And the crowd gets on home plate umpire Wally Bell.
Navarro had too much to do. When you cross the plate like that, you rarely get a strike call.
In the air to left field. Back is Soriano. Tagging is Jay. He'll come in to score. And it's a 6-3 game. RBI number 44 for Matt Carpenter. So Russell comes in to get a big out there, and now he will deal with this Calso, who represents the tying run at the plate. Descalso started this season ice cold, hitting 167 through the 11th of May. But since May 12th, he came into tonight hitting 347, and he has found his name on that lineup card more and more. The struggles of Pete Kozma, the other Cardinal shortstop. Russell brings it. That is foul and out of play. Descalso has hit 3 home runs, driven in 26. In the air to left center field. Russell comes in, does his job. Bogusevic puts it away, and the Cardinals get only 1. 6-3. Cubs on top into the bottom of the 8th at Wrigley. out of Live Moss and sponsored by Ace, the helpful place. New battery for the Cardinals. Yadier Molina will stay in the game and do the catching, and Randy Choate will pitch. On Tuesday, the Cardinals will be well represented in the upcoming All-Star game. The 2013 Major League Baseball All-Star game. The Cardinals will send 5, the Cubs 1. And it starts at 7:30 Eastern, only on Fox. From New York, there is Yadier Molina, who pinch hit, reached on an error. He will do the catching, and an inflamed right knee. That was the diagnosis when he missed last weekend's game, sat out Monday on the off day, and then went back to work. But they are going to try and limit Yadier Molina's exposure here in the second half as Randy Choate, the left-handed specialist, will deal with Barney, Bourbon, and Valbuena.
Yeah, Molina pressed into action, and I mean pressed into action tonight, because this is not what Mike Matheny wanted. Obviously, the game's very important, but Molina, and you talked about it about 3 weeks ago, he might be the most valuable player to any team in the major league.
And the most irreplaceable.
Yeah, right.
Over a long stretch. He is the heart and soul of this team from behind the plate, as Freese makes the play, and Barney is 1 for 4 on the night. 1 out in the 8th. They'll bring in Bourbon, and made the error in right, albeit a tough error on that ball hit down the line by Molina. Bourbon steps in, hitting 191 this season, batting the number 9 spot. The Cardinals in the 9th, with Kevin Gregg getting loose. Out of the bullpen for Chicago will have Beltran, Craig, and Adams. The 3, 4, and 5 hitters in their lineup. Strike 1. Choate's next is taken outside as Bourbon pulled the bat back. 1 ball, 1 strike. Choate was signed to a 3-year deal over the offseason as that effective left-handed specialist. He misses inside, and the count 2-1.
A lot of ways to get left-handed hitters out. Fastball inside, fastball away, and of course the breaking ball away. Has that sweeping slider effect on left-handed hitters.
Choate ready with a 2-1 pitch. Instead, Bourbon steps out. Matt Garza in line for the win. If he gets it, he'll go to 6-1. And that vastly improved bullpen for the Cubs, trying to protect the lead. That's on the outside corner. 2-2. Kevin Gregg, who was let go in spring training by the Dodgers, coming back to Chicago, will try and save it for Garza. Another guy on the list of potential trade targets for other teams around baseball. Foul tip keeps Bourbon up there. Two and 2 the count as Choate brings home a breaking ball that's just tipped foul again by Bourbon.
That's the second foul tip in a row that Molina has suffered. Giving that ball on the ground a little swipe. go in there for defense after the pinch hitting appearance and get 2 foul tips on the chest protector. A lot of people think they don't hurt. They do.
Another 2-2 is hit fair down the left field line, and Bourbon will dig for second and make it easily with a double.
That fastball on the inside part of the plate. A double for Bourbon.
So he's at second, 1 out. And the batter will be Valbuena. Luis has a 2-run home run in this game, giving him 8 on the year, 29 RBIs. He's 1 for 4. As we mentioned, when he was at the plate in the second with the bases loaded, 1 out. Hitting just .212 with runners in scoring position. Strike 1. Right-hander Seth Maness getting ready for the Cardinals in their bullpen. The 0-1 to Valbuena outside. Choate is the 4th pitcher of the night for Mike Matheny. Lynn started, could not go 5. Butler went 2/3. Martinez 2 perfect innings with 2 strikeouts. And now a 1-1 from Choate with a runner at second, 1 out. It's down and away, ball 2.
Yadier Molina favoring that right knee. You can tell when he gets up it's stiff. First inning of defense after sitting, throwing the ball back to the pitcher. It's stiff and awkward. It's not Molina like.
2-2. Well, so instead of getting a break with the All-Star game coming up and getting a chance to rest the knee, Molina was voted in as the starter in front of the reigning MVP in the National League, Buster Posey. And Yadier, who has won 5 straight Gold Glove awards, will get the start on Tuesday in New York. Here's a 2-2. A strikeout for out number 2. Valbuena strikes out for the 2nd time tonight, and the batter will be Starlin Castro, who has a hit. It was an infield RBI base hit with the bases loaded back in a 3-run second.
I'm a little surprised Mike Matheny's not putting Castro on right here. Even though we talked about it earlier, Castro swings at a lot of balls. That might be a way to pitch him here. Don't throw him anything in the strike zone.
He grounds one right side. Carpenter makes the stop. We'll look at the runner Bourbon at third. It's an infield base hit. 1st and 3rd, 2 out.
Now Carpenter saved the run temporarily. That was a good play. And not making the throw to first base. Otherwise, Bourbon may have tried to score. A heads-up play by Matt Carpenter. He had no intention of going to first base. So, for the time being, that's a run saved. We'll see.
Cardinals were able to transition Skip Schumacher from the outfield to second base. Little different story with Matt Carpenter. He was already an infielder and predominantly a third baseman, but playing that position not easy, and Carpenter's done a great job in learning. Spent a lot of time in spring training, and before that with Jose Oquendo, the Cardinal infield instructor. Put himself in the best position possible, and here he is, an all-star second baseman, showing good baseball sense on that play to his left and not making the throw to first. That's outside, and with the left-hander up, Choate is behind on the count to Rizzo, 2-0. A one-out double by Bourbon. Valbuena struck out. Castro the infield hit. And it's Anthony Rizzo now with a count of 2-0. In the bottom of the 8th inning, Cubs leading 6-3. A chance to add to it. That's not close, and none of the 3 pitches to Rizzo have been anywhere near the strike zone. If Choate doesn't get Rizzo, on deck is Alfonso Soriano. In the bullpen is Seth Maness. Here's a 3-0. A 4-pitch walk to load him up. And that will be it for the Cardinal left-hander. A walk to Rizzo loads the bases. The red-hot Alfonso Soriano coming up. Maness coming out of the bullpen in a 3-run game. With the bases loaded, 2 out, dealing with Seth Maness.
And Maness, in order to be effective, has to keep the ball down, and he's throwing to a predominant low ball hitter.
Strike 1. Because he's been so good at keeping the ball down, Maness has been a double play machine. He doesn't need it here, but he comes in with the bases loaded, 2 out. Soriano grounds to the left side. Freeze makes the play, and that ends the inning. That sends us into the 9th. Cardinals will have the heart of their lineup. Maness does his job. Gregg will come in and try and close it. Cubs leading 6-3. Presented by Taco Bell. This has turned into a decent ball game. 6-3, 3-run lead for Kevin Gregg, trying for his 17th save. Trying to save it for Matt Garza, dealing with the heart of the Cardinal lineup. Strike one to Beltran, who is 1 for 4. It's Beltran, Craig, and Adams for the Cardinals, down by 3. Ball 1. Kevin Gregg was released by the Dodgers April 3rd. He's been a nice find coming back to the Cubs as he hits the outside corner. Strike 2.
Yeah, the Dodgers could not guarantee Kevin Gregg the closer's role, so they released him, and he signed with the Cubs and got what he wanted.
Here's the 1-2. Just missed. 2-2. Beltran trying to start something for the Cardinals in the 9th. 2-2 pitch is hit in the air to center. Back is Bogusevic. 1 out. Time for the King Plays of the Game, brought to you by Burger King, where taste is king, and it's the work of Matt Garza. Coming in 4-0, ERA under 1 over his last 5 starts. And he was in charge really from the beginning. Gave up a run in the 2nd, did not give up another until the 7th, when he was taken out of the ball game 6 2/3, 2 runs on 10 hits, 4 strikeouts, a walk, and he stays hot. Alfonso Soriano stays hot. James Russell out of the bullpen with 2 big outs. Now Gregg trying to get the save. This is a big night for not just the Cubs, but their front office.
Yeah.
And Jed Hoyer, their general manager, Theo Epstein, who is the president of baseball operations, as there could be a yard sale here at Wrigley Field for some of their talent.
Everything but the yard will be for sale.
0-2 on Allen Craig. It was 1 for 4 with an RBI single. That came in the 7th. And chased the starter, Matt Garza. So that luxury suite has to be happy. But not just the work tonight by that group, but the Cubs in general, as Craig fouls it away. Still 0-2. Trying to win for the 6th time over the last 9 games of the Cubs. Dale Swaim is feeling better and better about things here in Chicago. A strikeout for out number 2. And the Cub faithful to their feet, hoping it ends right here with Matt Adams. Adams 2 hits tonight, a pair of singles, a run scored. Ball 1 inside. Gregg got the save on Thursday. Mujica got the save yesterday. And Gregg is trying to pick up a Saturday night save. Up by 3 in the 9th. Here's a 2-0. 3-0 with David Freese on deck. A 4-pitch walk, and Adams is on base for the 3rd time tonight. That'll bring in Freese. And if Freese can reach, John Jay would bat, representing the tying run. David Freese tonight 1 for 4 with a double. Flied out, grounded out, struck out. They play behind Adams at first. Strike one. Ball one.
Good slider, just missed to Freese. Ducks right off the corner.
Ball two. The count 2-1. The pitch down and away, 3-1. Freese looking for something to drill here, and he fouls it straight back a full count. Now the Cardinals down to their final strike.
Well, the pitcher's mentality right here is make him hit to get on. Don't walk him.
Runner goes on ball four, and the Cardinals will get the tying run to the plate after back-to-back walks to Adams and Freese.
How about that? That's all you can hope for with 2 outs. You get a couple of walks, you get the tying run potentially up at the plate. Just devastating when a pitching coach like Chris Bosio and a manager has to sit, and a pitcher I might add, they have to sit through the pitcher walking 2 hitters with the 3-run lead.
Meanwhile, the interesting piece to the rest of this 9th inning is not just Jay at the plate, but really the only bench player Mike Matheny has left would follow Jay to the plate, and that would be Pete Kozma, who is 0 for his last 26. And that's because Matt Holliday is unavailable with a bad hamstring. But right now, that doesn't matter. What matters is Kevin Gregg and John Jay. Jay has hit 5 home runs this season, and he has a 3-hit night already. Last home run, July 3rd for John Jay. Tying run at the plate. Gregg brings it. Strike one. Two walks have given the Cardinals hope. Here's the 0-1. A little upstairs, a ball and a strike. Hard hit right side. Barney can't make the play. Adams will come to the plate. It's a 2-1 game, and now the Cardinals have first and third, 2 out. With Pete Kozma coming up.
Dale Swaim is not upset about the hit. He's not upset at Darwin Barney, who made a nice effort. It's going to be a base hit for Jay. Dale Swaim is upset with Greg for walking to set up the situation. Oh, those walks.
But now it's Pete Kozma. His only home run was day 2 of the regular season. First and third, 2 out, ball 1. An 0 for 26 streak accompanying Pete Kozma to the plate. With a runner at third, the tying run at first, 2 out. Chopped to short, tough play. What a play by Castro, and Rizzo on the other end to end it.
He was a clinic tonight.
And this game ends 6-4 Chicago as Greg gets a white knuckle save here on Saturday night.
Of all the saves that Castro has made tonight, that was his best.
And Rizzo on the other end. Castro gets a save as well as Kevin Gregg with that backhanded short hop pickup to end the night. A 3-hour, 25-minute game. The winner is Garza, now 6-1. The loser, Lance Lynn, now 11-4. And the save for Kevin Gregg, his 17th of the season. Our producer, Pete Macheska, director, Bill Webb, technical directors, Jonathan Evans, associate director, Brian Biederman, broadcast associate is Jordan Harrison. For Ken and Tim, I'm Joe. Take a break. The guys in the studio on the other side.